Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We'll show you hats on the hill with an update from Washington, D.C. and the 2014 NCBA Legislative Conference, plus a sneak preview of the movie Farmland.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. Topping our show this week, Australia and Japan have completed negotiations on a free trade agreement that could have a negative impact on the ongoing discussions surrounding the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Australia, Japan, the U.S., and 9 other countries are all taking part in TPP talks. However, Japan has been unwilling to negotiate on all agricultural products, including beef. There's a concern now because this new bilateral trade agreement between Japan and Australia does not call for full tariff elimination and may undermine the long-standing goals and principles that are the basis of the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
We need to have a situation where we're able to get products into countries around the globe the same way those countries can get products into ours. And we know that a reduction of barriers to trade, whether they're tariffs or whether they're non-tariff trade barriers, is something that not only is beneficial to the United States, but it's beneficial to the entire world.
Want to keep up to date on everything going on in Washington, D.C.? Then check out the website beltwaybeef.com. It's the official blog of the NCBA Washington, D.C. office. Posts on Beltway Beef are produced by NCBA staff, as well as invited guests, and cattle producers are encouraged to ask questions and comment on the postings. Each spring, cattlemen and women from around the country gather in Washington, D.C. for the annual NCBA Legislative Conference. For policymakers, it's a clear demonstration of how those in the American beef cattle industry can unify to deliver a message about the issues and regulations that can make or break their livelihood. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has more on the happenings at the 2014 Spring Legislative Conference.
It is hugely important to have our ranchers come to Washington, D.C. this week. It is an opportunity for the hats and boots to be on Capitol Hill and let our congresswomen and congressmen and senators know the important issues of the day facing the ranching business.
Being able to see all the cowboy hats, all the boots, we are definitely a presence that is well recognized on Capitol Hill.
There were plenty of hats on Capitol Hill as more than 200 cattlemen and women traveled to Washington, D.C. to discuss policy issues and to make sure their voices were heard by the decision makers in our nation's capital.
The Legislative Conference is a great opportunity to get our producers in town to make sure that they are engaged in the public policy process. Those of us who work every day in Washington, D.C., we go up on Capitol Hill, we work with the members of Congress and their staff, but every time we go in to talk about an issue, we always get the question, where are my producers back home? Well, this gives the great opportunity for producers to actually come into town and deliver that message face to face.
It really is important to come to Washington, D.C. when we have this opportunity at our Spring Legislative Conference. We have a fabulous lobbying staff back here in D.C., a full-time lobbying staff here every day representing our interests, but this gives an opportunity for them to have the producers who establish their policy come back, and for the people here in D.C., the legislators, and especially the agency people who work here, they get to see the face of a rancher, someone who's raising cattle out in the country, and it kind of puts a face to the policy process and to the issues that we're worried about.
The Legislative Conference, sponsored by Elanco, gives cattlemen and women an opportunity to connect with members of Congress, as well as regulators at agencies such as the USDA and the EPA. And the lawmakers value this chance to hear firsthand how their decisions impact ranchers.
What you're doing this morning is really important. If you look at the way members of Congress make decisions, what are their inputs where they decide to do things? It's constituent input is at the top of everybody's list. And it works two ways. The best way to work is Build relationships with your member of Congress before you need to go talk to them about something that you're asking them to do. But when you've got something to ask, there's not a better way to do it than look them straight in the eye and say, this is what's happening to us, this is what that does and doesn't do. You've got great representation, professional reputation here in D.C., and they work the processes all the time. But there's no one better at telling your story than you.
And as is always true in Washington, there is never a shortage of policy issues NCBA members and the cattle industry are facing.
You know, there's a whole gamut of issues that impact livestock producers, and so we look forward to visiting with our congressional delegation as well as agency heads on things like the Waters of the United States proposed rule, the Brazilian fresh beef proposed rule, as well as the federal dietary guidelines.
Certainly getting a good fix for the cool rule has been a big priority over the past few years. We've got some strategies going forward to hopefully be able to fix that. Also, the new announcement by the EPA expanding their jurisdictional authorities over all the waters in the United States and not just navigable waters as has been in the past. Could seriously affect cattle production in this country, could seriously affect the success of cattle producers and being able to manage their operations.
Well, one issue that I'm pretty concerned about is the Clean Water Act. As they try and take over and get more control of the water, now they're talking ditches and ponds and stuff, and it just seems like it never ends.
After 3 days of crisscrossing Capitol Hill and moving from meeting to meeting, does all this effort really make a difference? Those with experience say the answer is a resounding yes.
I know it takes a lot of work for producers to leave their families and their operations and spend a few days here in the nation's capital, but the rewards that it reaps are hand over hand and such a great benefit. And when I go back onto the Hill after our cattle producers have been in town for a few days, the stories that they share, the examples, the experiences, the regulations that they're having to deal with every day, it just really puts a real life personal touch on those conversations that we're having also in D.C.
This is where you find out what are some of the rules and regulations that are going to impact your business and whether you're going to be able to be in business in the next 5-10 years. So I think you need to get engaged. This is a great avenue to find out how the process works. It has long-lasting effects on your operation.
You know, there's so few folks involved in agriculture, and so it's important that we bind together and bring our voice to Washington, where so many of the decisions are made that impact our operations. It's powerful to join together with our fellow producers from across the country and help leverage our policy positions to congressmen and other decision makers so we can continue to have a profitable industry.
Reporting from Washington, D.C., I'm Sharon Alseth for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Still ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Farmland is all about bringing the stories to life of 6 young farmers and ranchers.
We'll give you a sneak preview of the new movie Farmland. Plus, we'll head to Sonoma, California to visit a family-run Hereford operation. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
Your herd, your business, your family. You've always protected what matters most, so you know how important vaccinations are for healthy cattle. And with Vista vaccines from Merck Animal Health, you know you're covered. No other vaccine works like Vista. Only Vista gives you complete dual-action pneumonia protection and complete one-dose fetal protection for the entire pregnancy. Protect what matters most. Talk to your veterinarian or animal health supplier about Vista.
When it comes to your land, it pays to be smart. At New Holland, smart means giving you a wide range of options to fit your needs, like smooth cutting, plug-free conditioning, and versatility. Smart means putting more hay in the bale and leaving less in the field. It also means providing exceptional after-sales support and growing a legacy that goes far beyond equipment. That's New Holland Smart. Visit your local New Holland dealer today.
We're here at the R.A. Brown Ranch discussing the issue of generational transfer. And with me now is the third child in the Brown family, Mary Ann McCartney. Marianne, what was your initial reaction when your folks came to you and said, it's time to split up the ranch?
Great surprise. I really never expected that to take place prior to someone's passing on. I realized that it, through some great planning and preparation, maybe even more than my parents, but the example that they had generations before them, there's just been beautiful generosity and giving in order to keep the operation in the family over many, many years. So I'm humbled, I'm excited. Our family's looking forward to seeing what we can do and keeping things intact. I know my father learned from his own experience when his father passed away and the death tax and so forth, and it taught them a great deal, and they're able to learn from that and now share in this beautiful way, this great opportunity with us kids.
Marianne, what lessons did you and your brothers and sisters learn about keeping peace in the family throughout this whole process?
Oh, I'd have to say great patience and deep love for one another. I do feel it was advantageous that we started early in the process as far as when our goal was to meet the completion of the process, that it took a great number of meetings, and the meetings always seemed to take more time than we expected, going over the details of sorting things out and deciding what was fair and so forth. So giving it plenty of time, not being in a rush to get through the process, and just having deep admiration for one another and a lot of prayer over the process helped things go smoothly.
So what do your kids think about this new adventure that you're beginning in your own operation?
Oh, the kids are excited. Our children, we try real hard to teach a work ethic in this day and age, and I would have to say that's become a little bit easier. Now they feel some ownership when it's time to fix fence or gather and work cattle. They feel that, this benefits them, and, someday this piece of ground may be part of theirs, so you don't have to twist their arm as hard. And it's beautiful to work together as family, and I still feel I've grown up with that, and I feel it's still very much the same, and I hope that we can do the same for our children someday. We're blessed to have this opportunity.
And that's one last question. So what are your hopes for the future in your own operation?
Oh, I would say Todd and I have a lot of learning to do. We're kind of new in this stage of production, and as our youngest goes off to school in the fall, I'll be his assistant more, and our children are getting older and can participate in the after school and weekend part of the operations.
Thank you so much for your insights and your candor. We appreciate it. And we'll be back right after this.
Whether you're feeding cattle, milking cows, or baling hay, the work on your farm is never done, which is why you need equipment that works as hard as you do. Get the efficiency and versatility you need with Case IH. From Farmall compact and utility tractors to balers and mowers, all Case IH equipment is designed with one thing in mind: getting the job done. To learn more, visit caseih.com/livestock.
This business can take time away and become more of your family than your actual family. My days were tough. I had a lot of doctoring, a lot of pulling. Now our days on the feed yard are happy days. It's more about looking at the cattle and enjoying what we're producing versus the alternative, which is pull and treat and bang our head against the wall. We have never wavered from Draxon. We've seen the benefits just keep getting better and better.
Welcome back, and thanks again for joining us. As California continues to deal with severe drought, the state's cattle producers have to come up with creative ways to continue to be profitable. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Russell Nemitz introduces us to one operation that adds value to their operation by combining wine with cattle.
It's not every day you see cattle grazing and grapevines growing on the same operation, but Sonoma Mountain Herefords is unique. This registered seed stock operation is in a part of California that's more often recognized for outstanding wine. The Cundy Estate has long been home both to great vineyards and to Hereford cattle. Jim and Marcia Mickelson credit their kids with helping to keep the family in the cattle business.
Sonoma Mountain Herefords came about 15 years ago when we purchased my wife's family's Hereford cattle, and our children were showing cattle in 4-H when they were about 8 and 9 years old. And through purchasing my wife's family's cattle, we've grown the operation into about 175 mother cows today.
It is a family operation. It's my husband and myself, and we have 2 children and a daughter-in-law that are involved. So very much hands-on and keeps us very busy.
Today, in the midst of the severe California drought, Bobby Mickelson and his wife Heidi are keeping their herd in condition by feeding hay. Hereford was the breed of choice for Marcia's father, and that tradition continues today.
History of Herefords in our operation go way back. My dad started a Hereford herd with an FFA project back in about the 1940s, and started developing his herd and had registered Herefords, and then I got the bug. I like them because they're not only are they docile creatures compared to other cattle species, I think they produce a very high quality product for the American consumer.
The breed is a breed that you can get out and be in and be around and not have to worry about having problems with cattle that have an attitude. And the Hereford breed is one that is real strong in docility and easy to be around.
At Sonoma Mountain Herefords, the top priority is to raise high-quality bulls for commercial cattlemen. Marcia and Jim believe the mountain conditions where the animals are raised prepares them to perform for their customers.
Our bulls are mountain-raised bulls, part of Sonoma Mountain, and so they're not fed in a feedlot situation, so they have to travel to get their food and water, and we make sure that they get out and travel the way we set up where we water them and where we feed them. So they're moving, they're very sound on their feet and legs, and I think that's an important part of where we sell our bulls, because they're going to go out in the mountains to go breed the cows, and they've got to have good legs underneath them.
We really work hard on quality of cattle, feet and legs starting at the ground up, great udders, moderate frame cows. The way we're going to make our living is selling bulls to go out and breed in these commercial cow herds, and in order to do that, they've got to be able to perform for them. So we spend a lot of time in selecting sires. We AI here, so we spend a lot of time in looking at EPDs, looking at tenderness, a lot of the things that are available to us today, and really try and put together a good quality product that will benefit us as a breeder as well as the people that are buying replacement stock from us.
Stewardship of the land is another priority at Sonoma Mountain Herefords, and the Mickelson family's efforts have positively impacted both cattle and grape production.
The winery operation farms about 750 acres of varietal wine grapes there in the Sonoma Valley, and the entire ranch, which is 1,850 acres, our home ranch, is not all covered with vines, so there is a large portion of it that is pasture land and grasslands and woodlands, and so we utilize the open space for the cattle. The cattle play a vital role in our sustainability. You know, we utilize the cattle for natural fertilization on the fallow grounds. When we tear out a vineyard, the cattle would be put in there and they graze off the fallow land. And we also use cattle waste in compost for our vineyards. So it kind of all is has a very symbiotic relationship between the vineyards and the cattle.
The property, as she'd said, is sustainably farmed. And part of that farming practice is bringing the consumer right onto the property. And they get to see the cattle grazing in amongst the vineyards. And that exposure to the consumer, I think, has really done a lot to promote the beef industry and to promote the marriage of cattle and wine, that people, when they leave the winery, really feel like, I want to go get a good steak someplace and enjoy it with a good bottle of Cab or Zin, a good red wine.
Grazing and grape growing have been intertwined at Sonoma Mountain Hereford since the 1950s. And working together, the Mickelson family has found the winning combination to produce great wine and great tasting beef.
As far as Sonoma Mountain Herefords go, I like to think that we produce a very honest product with a lot of integrity. I think it's a very high quality product that I think the consumer will always be happy with when they sit down at their meal in the evening time with their family.
Being in this cattle operation really came out of something that we could do together as a family, and we've really enjoyed it and live it every day. It's been a lot of fun for us.
Reporting from Sonoma, California, I'm Russell Nemitz for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Most Americans have never stepped foot on a farm or ranch or even talked to the people who grow and raise the food we eat. A new documentary called Farmland will take an intimate look at the lives of farmers and ranchers in their 20s, all of whom are responsible for running their farming businesses. Here's a sneak preview.
There is a misunderstanding of where food comes from.
You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a rancher. It doesn't work that way.
The number of people coming back to the family farm has decreased substantially.
There's a lot more challenges into starting farming than it used to be.
When I started, no one believed in me. Nobody.
It's definitely tough being in this developmental stage of my business.
You better water them right now.
My dad started this farm.
Now this is pretty tall.
This is the legacy we are carrying on.
Why does this not seem fair?
As a 26-year-old, I am, to my knowledge, the youngest rancher in Throckmorton County.
We need to have young people go into farming. Who's going to grow our food?
Farmland is now in release nationwide. And when we come back, we'll share a special panel discussion that we taped at the Cattle Industry Convention on the movie and the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
No storm is too powerful for new Purina Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, formulated with ultimate weather resistance. That means more minerals in the feeder and available to your cattle. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals provide more consistent intake and balanced mineral nutrition to optimize herd health and breedback rates. See the difference at your local Purina dealer or visit cattlenutrition.com. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, another way Purina is building better cattle.
We don't sit idle, wondering how we're going to build a better truck. We get out there and walk a mile, thousands of miles, in the footsteps of the guys we build trucks for. The groundbreaking Ram Heavy Duty, with 30,000 pounds of towing and 850 pound-feet of torque.
Welcome back. Joining me now are Bob Stallman, president of the American Farm Bureau Federation, as well as chairman of the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance. Forrest Roberts, he's the CEO of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, and Brad Bella, a rancher from Throckmorton, Texas, who was featured in the documentary Farmland. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
You know, we're here today to talk a little bit about the United States Farmers and Ranchers Alliance and specifically what the organization is doing to rebuild trust in American agriculture. And I guess let's start with you, Bob. Tell us a little bit about USFRA and more importantly, what's the vision of the organization?
Well, we were formed in 2010, and all that was a result of this conversation that's going on in American society that, frankly, farmers and ranchers weren't being a sufficient part of. We wanted to be, and many of our organizations tried to be individually, but we just couldn't get the critical mass, the organization together to move the needle on what consumers were beginning to think about how their food was raised and grown. They were being influenced by forces and voices that were outside of agriculture, and that was not good for us. So we made a decision to come together, over 20 farmer and rancher-led producer groups in 2010, and it's hard to get farmers and ranchers to agree on anything, but we agreed that we needed to get together, pool our resources, come up with a very sharp strategic plan to move forward and maintain and increase that consumers' trust in what we do. So we had the opportunity, by pooling those resources, to do extensive consumer research, focus groups, to understand what it was consumers were wanting in this conversation. What we found out they did not want was for us to tell them what they should think. They wanted to have a conversation. They wanted to talk. They wanted to have their questions answered openly, honestly. They wanted transparency. They wanted to know that we shared their values. And after learning all that, then USFRA has been moving forward ever since then, crafting the programs and the platforms to accomplish that.
Well, you spoke of those 20 organizations for us. I know NCBA is one of the organizations that makes up USFRA. Why is it important for NCBA and other organizations like it to be a part of this new organization?
Well, as Bob has outlined very well, that this whole effort is all a part of enhancing consumer trust in today's agriculture. And in order to do that, we need everyone at the table focused on one common outcome and speaking with one voice. From a beef perspective, we're highly vested in this entire effort, from our role as NCBA as a contractor to the Beef Checkoff program, to our role in coordinating with all the state beef councils across the U.S., and then also in our role as a member organization for beef producers. So it's our opportunity to work collaboratively together against this outcome that Bob outlined and work that in a way that is more productive than what we could do on our own. Because we have been doing that, but we weren't collectively speaking with one voice and really making the impact that we feel we need in order to enhance consumer trust in today's agriculture. So that's why it's important for the beef industry, as the largest segment of food and fiber here in agriculture, to be a part of that discussion.
And Bob, I'm familiar with some of the food dialogues you've done, but maybe you could highlight for our audience, what are some of the successes of USFRA thus far?
Well, we've had a number, hope to have many more. We kicked off with really a technologically savvy cross-country web dialogue, webinar, if you will. 4 locations simultaneously across the country interacting with each other. And it kicked off by Secretary Vilsack, United States Department of Agriculture. And so we were very pleased with that. It started the conversation because we had our critics were on the panels with us. We had a conversation about, some of these issues that had been raised and got different perspectives from different people, but it really stamped us as an organization that was willing to have an open and honest dialogue, which is the goal of what we're trying to do with consumers, and we want consumers to engage in that conversation with us.
That's outstanding. Well, we want to visit about this just a little bit more, but first we go to break. We'll be back with more discussion on the documentary Farmland after this quick break. Stay with us.
This is yours, and so is what grows there. Not theirs or theirs, yours. You need this to fight this and this to grow more this. Because the more of this you feed them, the less this you spend on that, which leaves more of this here. Don't let them take this from you. Chaparral takes care of weeds and brush, and that's that.
Bulls here, 210.11. I'm at 210.11. Yes! Joe. Todd, how'd you do? Oh, not bad.
See what you have to gain at thelongrangelook.com.
Welcome back. We're talking about the documentary Farmland with Bob Stallman, president of the American Farm Bureau Federation and chairman of the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance, Forrest Roberts, the CEO of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, and Brad Bella, a sixth-generation cattle rancher from Throckmorton, Texas. Again, gentlemen, thanks for taking a couple of minutes to talk about an exciting film. I understand, Forrest, that USFRA is involved in distributing this documentary called Farmland sometime this spring. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, we certainly are very excited about what Farmland is going to bring to not only the movie theaters across this country, but to the homes of consumers all around this country and perhaps all around the globe. And it's an opportunity for USFRA to be involved in the distribution of this documentary, a documentary that was put together by James Moll. So James Moll is an award-winning director who got his training with Spielberg, who most people know very well in the movie business. And he's someone who has a very unique ability to bring a story to life. And so Farmland is all about bringing the stories to life of 6 young farmers and ranchers as they look at different facets within their organization about how they make them successful, how they navigate through the challenges while capitalizing on all the opportunities that we see in American agriculture today. From a beef perspective, we've got a very unique opportunity to have Brad Bella from Throckmorton, Texas, represent the beef face as it relates to this documentary and how we tell really his story about American agriculture specific to the beef industry. So we're very excited about where we're focused with this entire multi-pronged strategy, of which Farmland, the documentary, is one piece that we're involved with from a distribution point of view.
Brad, you come from one of the great American farm and ranch families in the country, a family that I'm proud to call a friend. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your operation.
Yes, sir. Like Forrest said, I'm 6th generation. My family's been in Throckmorton for over 100 years now, ranching. We're involved in all aspects of the beef industry, from seed stock to commercial cow-calf, as well as stockers and even feedlots. So have a various background. No day is the same for me. Always doing something different, but like I say, have experience all across the board. So.
Including acting now, right?
Sadly, there was no acting. It was a documentary. Yeah. They told me I'm not an actor, I'm a film subject.
Okay.
I guess you could compare me to Honey Boo Boo, or Snooky, if you will.
Well, tell us how you decided to get involved in this.
Well, actually, I was pulling into my driveway late one evening after work, and I had a phone call from a California number. That's pretty rare for me, so I decided to see who it was. And it was a lady with Allentown Productions, and she wanted to know if I was interested in participating in a documentary. At the time, I said, let me talk with my family a little bit. My wife was pregnant with twins, so it was a personal time for us. We're also going through a drought, and I had to talk with my dad about, is this what we want consumers to see? But ultimately, Molly decided it was important for us to participate, and as long as no cameras were in the delivery room. And Dad and I agreed that the whole country was going through a drought, and we were taking precautions and steps to manage our land, just like most producers. And we were comfortable that we would be able to show a proper ranch setting just as well as anyone would. So we agreed to do the film.
Bob, we've been the victims, if you will, of a lot of documentaries that have not been so favorable in American agriculture. What does USFRA hope to accomplish with this documentary?
Well, what we hope to accomplish is our mission, which is basically connect consumers with farmers and ranchers, build consumer trust using that connection. We've built an extensive social media web-based platform where individuals can interact. And so we hope this documentary draws them into the conversation, also makes them think that maybe some of the things they've heard about modern agriculture are not necessarily true, so they can ask more questions to satisfy concerns that they have them or become more aware, and in that whole process to build up that trust between consumers and America's farmers and ranchers.
So the obvious question is, when can we see it?
Well, you can see it coming to a theater near you this spring. We expect after a lot of the film festivals that the documentary has been entered into, it will be airing in a lot of theaters across this country. First, as you might imagine in the major markets, in the major metropolitan areas, because as Bob has
like
outlined,
Throckmorton.
We don't even have a movie theater.
That's right. Probably not Throckmorton as the first major market, but maybe the third major market.
Okay.
But we have an opportunity to really engage with the major media markets to be able to be a part of distributing and launching this documentary. And then there will also be an opportunity for it to then move to a lot of the markets that are going to be in rural areas like Throckmorton, Texas.
Right.
And so in order for folks across the country that are watching here today to be able to track where we are with this, probably around the May time period, they just need to go to farmlandfilm.com and they'll be able to track when it's coming to a theater near them. And if they want to do even more, like this young man does, they can like us on Facebook and follow from that point of view as well.
Any last comments?
No, I'd just like to say that ultimately the goal here is to spark conversation, as everyone here has mentioned, and I think this film is definitely going to do that, definitely going to get some foodies interested in modern agriculture.
It's going to raise a little emotion too. You'll probably have a tear in your eye as you watch it.
And what I love about it is connecting to the millennials that you talk about so often, Forrest, that we're having the same generation talk to these folks. So that's outstanding.
Obviously, Brad is one of these millennials that today, they not only are wanting to understand when they purchase beef as their preferred source of protein, they want to come back to what's not only the price, is it safe, is it nutritious, but they want to know how that product was raised. So how that beef eating experience was raised will be a big part of what we think can also be accomplished in terms of enhancing consumer trust in today's agriculture. So we're really excited about this.
Outstanding effort. I'll look forward to seeing the film myself. Well, we'll be back with more Cattleman to Cattleman right after this.
This isn't a job, it's a calling. Your hard work helps feed the world. Being linked to those who care for the land is our calling. For more than 175 years, John Deere has been a proud partner of the cattle business. That's why we bring you special NCBA member discounts, so you can get the right equipment, strong, rugged, versatile, and ready to work hard. Talk to your John Deere dealer to learn more about your NCBA member discounts. John Deere, committed to the land, committed to your success.
Hello, I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Each week, we travel the country to bring you the latest cattle industry news and information. Check us out at cattlemantocattleman.org or on Facebook and Twitter. Joining us now to talk about partnering with NCBA is Carrie Vestine, the Vice President of Operations at Roper Stetson. Carrie, tell folks just a little bit about the history and background of Roper Stetson.
Roper and Stetson are actually, our corporate name is Carmen Inc., okay? And it was founded here in Denver, 1948. So we're in our 66th year producing high quality Western wear. Our brand names are Roper, which is our internal brand name, created in 1986. Before that, we produced under the Carmen name, but in 1986, as Western wear really got rolling and we had some forward-thinking styles and things like that, we invented the Roper brand name, and we produced under that. And then in 2005, we became a license of the Stetson brand. The Stetson Hat Company had been had been in business since 1865, and we started producing boots, jeans, shirts under the Stetson brand then in 2005. And then we have one more brand which we have just launched, which is called Tin Hall, which is targeted kind of at the youth of America. And so it's got some real fun things, and I think some of our NCBA members have seen a really special beef boot that we have done in that brand, and they were able to see that recently.
Yeah,
so.
You've got my kids hooked on the Tin Hall brand, that's for sure.
Well, good. That's what we were hoping for. So, yeah.
You know, it's been amazing to see your commitment as an organization to agriculture and specifically the beef industry. I guess I would be interested, why are you so committed to the beef industry?
Well, it's really 4 years ago, just out of the blue, during the convention when it was here in Denver, we got a call that some booth space had opened up. Somebody had not shown up and said, hey, can you guys come down and, sell some stuff? And so it was like, always looking for an opportunity, and having our warehouse right here in Denver, we loaded up and went down and set up a small space. And I went down and said, hey, it's a Friday, I'll go down and work the booth. And I saw all these NCBA members walking the convention, and I saw so many cowboy hats and boots and jeans, and I said, holy mackerel, never seen so many of our customers, congregated in one area as they walk through these aisles. And so, we said this has got to be a great, way for us to market to, our customers. And so we met with the head of marketing, Marvin, and we discussed, hey, what can we do, for us to get access to, these obvious group of people? What can we do to partner up to help you, and what can you do to help us? And so we worked on a way to make the NCBA membership, ways to enhance it through ways to get access to some really great styles from the Roper, Stetson, and Tin Hall brands.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. So tell folks what are some of the benefits for NCBA members through your partnership?
Well, as a new member, when you first sign up, you're going to get a discount of half off of your first order. So we worked with one of our internet providers, Urban Western Wear, you can actually go onto the website, and your entire first purchase that you make of any of the Roper, Stetson brands on the website, you get 50% off. Wow. So we worked really hard with Urban to make it as seamless as possible for NCBA members to have their own landing page. You know where you are. It's very explanatory as to what you're picking and what price that you're getting. And Urban is special in that everything that we have in our warehouse, he has on his website. So certain websites will carry, bits and pieces of our offering, but Urban carries everything. So if we make it, you'll see it. So a lot of times you walk into a retail store, you'll see a little bit of Western here, with the Roper, Stetson, but not at Urban. You get everything. So, and he's been really, really a great partner in executing the coupon codes, and we just try to make it as easy as we possibly can. So you get half off on that first order, and then throughout the year, after you become a member, there's 25% off at multiple times during the year that you can also execute as well. So, and then third, if you get additional NCBA members to join the NCBA through the Top Hand Club, you can earn a free pair of boots after a certain level. So there's some really great benefits.
And they're nice boots, I have to tell you.
They're nice boots. We work really, really hard. Yeah, you're decked out pretty good today.
Well,
really
we appreciate your support, clearly, of the show, but more importantly, the organization and all of our members. Thank you so much for coming to the show today.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. So.
To learn more about the exclusive NCBA membership benefits from Roper and Stetson, visit the website beefusa.org. There are many great benefits to becoming a member of NCBA. Here to tell us more is Marvin Kokash, the Senior Vice President of Industry and Member Services for NCBA. Marvin, Roper and Stetson provide some wonderful incentives for NCBA members. But now with the Ram truck being the official truck of NCBA, there are even more member incentives. Tell us more about that.
Oh, absolutely, Kevin. The Ram truck, we're really proud of that partnership. Their commitment to American agriculture is second to none. And as an NCBA member, you can actually buy not only a Ram truck, but any Chrysler product and get preferred pricing. And basically, how if you want to gauge the price on what that benefit's going to mean, it's about 10% off of the sticker price. Wow. So I've had lots of great stories where we've saved cattlemen $4,000 to $5,000 off of the purchase of a new truck, depending on the model and all the things that they put on the truck. But it's been a great program so far.
That is a huge benefit. Tell us more about some of the other benefits that members receive when they become a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
We've worked very diligently over the years to really amass some real special benefits that can really impact cattlemen and save them money on day-to-day things. One of the relationships we're very proud of is with Cabela's. As an NCBA member, you buy gift cards through the NCBA website, you get 15% off. So if you get a $100 gift card, it costs you $85. $1,000 gift card costs you $850. That's real money. And people love to hunt and fish, and Cabela's is a great organization. One program that we're always really excited about is one we have with Zoetis. As you join NCBA, and our base dues are just $100, you're going to receive a bottle of Dectamax, a 1 liter bottle, that's worth $105. So the folks at home tonight, just listen to that math. You're getting a $105 bottle of Dectamax for your $100 base dues. You're getting the Cabela's member benefit. You're getting the Ram Truck member benefit. You also, if you're in the market for some equipment, we have member benefits and discounts with John Deere and New Holland. I mean, they will literally save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a year.
Sounds like becoming an NCBA member can be a money-making opportunity, right?
That's what we hope. And again, we've spent a lot of time and effort to make sure the benefits we do offer really are what cattlemen want and can use every day.
Yeah. Well, we talk a lot about these great incentives, and they really are wonderful. But there's more reasons than just the incentives to become an NCBA member. Would you agree?
Oh, Kevin, and I think fundamentally, a cattleman cannot be in Washington, D.C. every day. So what we do on behalf of the organization, it's really why people become that member and stay a member is really what we do to protect their interests in Washington. There are so many folks with our elected officials and our regulatory agencies, they fundamentally do not understand what goes on a ranch. So our staff in Washington is there to protect their interests, to make sure they can continue ranching and give them the opportunity to generate a profit in that business.
Lots of good reasons to become an NCBA member. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks, Kevin.
Join NCBA is easy to do. Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us online at beefusa.org. Stick around. It's time for another visit with our good friend Baxter Black right after this.
Hi there, I'm Joey.
And I'm Rory, and welcome to our farm outside Nashville, Tennessee. When we go to work, whether it's on tour or here at home, we wear the West.
That's right. Whether it's that perfect snap shirt or that perfect pair of boots, when you wear Roper, you wear the West.
Learn more about us, Joey and Rory, and about Roper Western Wear at eroper.com.
Telling the truth and being real, feeding my family a home-cooked meal, that's important to me. That's important to me. And planting the garden and watching it grow.
%70 of consumers want to know where their food comes from, and how can we ignore them? IMI Global offers third-party audited source and age verification essential for export markets and specialty markets like natural, organic, omnivoric, Eskimo, or possibly recovering vegan certified. For quality niche producers to the big boys, any cattleman who wants to expand his market, you're not just buying this green ear tag, you're buying peace of mind. IMIglobal.com.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, long hauls, never-ending chores. The unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
One of the great relationships in the wonderful world of agriculture is the one between the farmer and the salesman. Sometimes it runs as smooth as a pit crew on a bobsled, and other times it can be more like cats trying to convince dogs that mice are good to eat.
Don't be leaning on my fender. You're just another rep.
Well, take a look at this new seed corn.
Get your foot off of my step.
And I've got a line of cleaners to reduce your back T count.
Yeah, and reduce my line of credit by the very same amount.
Not to mention Scour's vaccine to prevent the dreaded crud and this iron-enriched injection to rejuvenate tired blood.
I don't need your blame concoctions. All my calves are at their peak.
Yeah, I noticed that your dead man pile is smaller than last week, and your pigs are doing better since you bought my supplement.
It's that parsley I've been adding, not your feed that makes them grunt.
Well, how's that herbicide I sold you? Killed the weeds in your field.
Huh. It rained just right this summer. That's what doubled up my yield.
Well, do you need some more inflations? Some baler twine or rubber boots?
Read my lips. No milk replacement. No organic substitutes. Everything you try and sell me just adds to my expenses. It's hard enough to keep her running smooth between the fences. Can't you see you're taking up my time? I've got to go and feed. So, say goodbye and leave me. What you think I'm gonna need.
Wait! 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 Wait!
This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. It's time now for this week's Legacy Photos submitted by ranching families from around our great country. Let's take a look. You can send us pictures of your farm or ranch by visiting our website. That's cattlemantocattleman.org. Include your ranch or farm name and your hometown, and we may use them on a future episode. Well, that's our time for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you right back here next week on RFD TV.